Did you see my updated bookshelf with my books? Hey, party people, buckle up. This is the story of my Haute Couture adventures, okay? Just a bit of a preamble. Number one, I have never tried to go to an official Fashion Week calendar show ever. This is my first time trying to get invites. I've never stood outside a show trying to crash or get a last minute seat. I've done none of those things. I live in California, so I'm a little bit separated from, the shenanigans out east. And so this is my first time. However, listen, okay? There are a few things that kind of align to make this happen. Number one, a while back, my husband and I were supposed to go to Amsterdam, and we had bought tickets to go to Amsterdam. And then my husband got hit by a car. Not great. He was hospitalized for months. And so I moved the tickets. We decided, you know what, let's go to Paris. And I had wanted to do a trade show video for the channel. So I'm like, let's go to Premier Vision. It is purportedly the largest sourcing trade show in the world. I've always wanted to go. I've been to other sourcing trade shows, but I've always wanted to go to Premier Vision. Let's do this. And so last week, you should have seen my Premier Vision walking tour video. Go watch that. I am going to be doing a follow-up video answering your sourcing questions at a later date. And then I was looking at the Haute Couture calendar, and I was like, maybe we can make this work in one trip. What's the worst that could happen? The worst thing that could happen is I get no invites to shows, nobody lets me attend their show, and I have to spend an extra week in Paris with my husband. Oh my God, life is so hard. Okay, seriously, that's the worst that could happen, right? So in the spirit of my 2025 motto, which has been embrace rejection, okay? I don't know if I discussed this at any point publicly, but that has been my 2025 motto is embrace rejection, meaning just go for it. I just do a brief calculation of what's the worst that could happen. Somebody says no. Okay. And so that I did a quick calculation. What's the worst that could happen? I don't go to any shows, and then I just spend time in Paris with my husband eating croissant. So I'm going to try to tell it in chronological order because it is the only way I can organize all the stories into one. So number one, I got my PV pass, my Premier Vision press pass. Okay. So once I knew I could attend Premier Vision, I could set my plane dates. So we bought the flight to accommodate Couture Week and Premier Vision. The next thing I did was reach out to a friend who has some connections in the industry. I don't know how great his connections are. That's not to throw shade. I just really don't. I know he has some connections. And I've seen him score deals and interviews with some really surprising brands, some really big brands. And then, so I was like, hey, if I wanted to attend a couture show, how would I go about that? He sent me an email for somebody he knows over at Schiaparelli, and he's like, try contacting this person, but try contacting closer to the dates, okay? They're not even thinking about couture right now. And I was like, oh, okay. So in January, I emailed this person. I never got a response. So I did not get to attend Schiaparelli. Rewind a few years ago. You know how sometimes I do runway reviews? Not often, sometimes. And I was looking at the couture shows, and I had seen a collection from a couturier I'd never heard of before named Sara Chraibi. And I thought it was so beautiful. I'm going to try to find that actual, that specific runway review video and link it below. But I had loved that collection so much that I included it in my runway review. And I started following Sara Chraibi on Instagram. And I had seen on the official calendar, she was a guest couturier, so she doesn't show every single season. She has to be re-invited. That's how the Fédération de la Haute Couture works, is they have the standing couturiers where they show every season, or it has to be a special circumstance that they don't show, and then they have a rotating roster of guests that they ask. they invite to show during the official Couture Week calendar. So I saw on the calendar that Sara Chraibi was showing the week I was going to be in Paris. And so here's the thing, is a long time ago, Sara Chraibi had DM'd me, or the Sara Chraibi Instagram account had DM'd me and said, Zoe, I'm a big fan of your channel. And I was like, thank you? Because, listen, I don't know who is writing DMs on Sara Chraibi's Instagram. Okay? I don't. Because, brands, you never know who's actually answering the DMs. So I really thought it was some intern who is answering, and some 20-something young, new in the industry person was writing to tell me that they love my YouTube, because that was more likely. That was more likely. Young people getting started in the industry are a lot of my audience. And so I didn't really think that much of it. And so I was like, oh, thank you. That's so nice of you to say. Fast forward, I was like, hey, let me ask Sara Chraibi if I can attend their show, because I would love to see that work. And so I wrote an email. I wrote it formally like an email, but I sent it via DM. I was like, hey, my channel and stuff. Do you think I could come to your show? Okay. I said it a little bit more professionally than that, but So whoever is controlling that account and writing the DMs wrote back and said, of course, I'm a big fan of your channel. Give me your email address and I'll have PR get a hold of you. I was like, I didn't announce it because I wanted to get that PR email before I could say, hey, I'm going to a couture show. This is so exciting. Okay. But once I did, I posted this because really, what am I wearing to an haute couture show? What am I wearing? When I posted that story on Instagram, there's this young woman that I met in Berlin, okay? And she's a subscriber, and we had briefly met in Berlin, and she DM'd me and said, hey, are you coming to Viktor and Rolf? And I was like, no. She's like, I'm interning at Viktor and Rolf, and, I was just wondering if you're coming to the show. I would love to see you again. And I was like, oh, dang, I'm not. But, if you could swing me an invite, I would definitely come. And so she's like, let me check. Spoiler alert, they could not get me in. They had all their invites set up and everything was good to go. It was too late. So I was like, oh poop. But it was so sweet of her to try. Shout out, you know who you are. Fast forward. So the way we did it is we landed in Heathrow, took a train to the English countryside to see my husband's sister for the weekend. And then we were going to take Eurostar to Paris from England. And, be in Paris, do a week in Belgium, come back to Paris for a premiere vision. So I'm at the airport chilling. I do an airport check-in on Facebook being like, hey, husband and I are heading to Paris. And my friend Shirley pings me and is like, oh, are you coming to Paris? I'm in Paris. Let's get together. And I'm like, I love this. Listen, Shirley, I make such good friends from this channel. I love it. Okay, so years ago, early on in my channel, 2017 or something, 2016, I was in New York and I was having a meetup in New York and Shirley showed up and we became friends immediately. You ever meet those people and you're like, oh, you and we're going to be friends. You just know, right? And yeah, we've been friends ever since. And she is bi-coastal. She lives in New York, spends a ton of time in LA, and I'm up here in the Bay. So we don't see each other face to face very often. So it was hilarious to me that we were going to end up perhaps getting coffee together in Paris. She had other plans, okay? So I get on the plane, have no internet. I land in Heathrow. She sends me a DM while I had been in the air. She's like, girl, I'm working the Rahul Mishra show. Do you want an invitation? Of course I want an invitation. What's wrong with you? Anyway, so listen, Shirley is a tailor. Shirley is a tailor, and she works backstage at a ton of shows, events like the Met Gala. She works for people like Mariah Carey and Madonna backstage at their concerts to make sure everything last minute is fitting beautiful. Last minute sewing errors, buttons popping, hems needed, dropping, like whatever. She will fix it, okay? She's the backstage tailor for tons of fashion and music, like events and such, all right? So Vogue sent one of their editors, a Michael Philouz, if I'm mispronouncing that, 100 apologies. And designers work with stylists all the time to make sure that their collection is like being presented well, on the runway. And so he went and he hired Shirley's team to help him so that they could all work with the Rahul Mishra team to make sure everything was looking amazing and styled and blah, blah, all the magical things up into the show. Okay. And so Shirley was like, I'm working backstage, Rahul Mishra. I'll make sure you get a ticket. And I was like, girl, I love this. Thank you so much. So I'm like, ooh, I have 2 show invites. Okay. And so having 2 show invites, my husband and I spent a beautiful, quiet weekend with his sister in the English countryside with her cute cat and Indian food, all the good things, right? Hey, party people. Listen, I just landed in my Paris hotel. That's a very Parisian view, right? Anyway, so I'm in my Paris hotel, and my girlfriend, who is working backstage at one of the couture shows this week, she just WhatsApped me and she's like, we're doing fittings and last minute stuff. You want to come over? Of course I do. The fuck are you talking about? Okay, of course I do. So I'm ahead. I look like freshly eaten butt, okay? Because I've woke up at the butt crack of dawn, rode a couple of 3 different trains. Were we on 3 different trains to get to Paris? Climbing stairs. I have no eyebrows. Okay, I'm gonna just spend. We rode 4 trains to get here from the English countryside where my sister-in-law lives to Paris. And so I'm gonna just slap on some eyebrows and gargle because my mouth tastes disgusting. And we're gonna go over there and we're gonna go see some supermodel fittings, and I'm gonna see if they'll let me film some stuff on the premise that I won't release it until afterwards, okay? No spoilers. So we get our bedraggled butts out the door. She sends me the address and we head over there, and it was a blast. I situated my husband in the corner with his phone, got him some snacks at some point, and I just ran around filming, and they knew I was filming, there was no sneaking. Like, they knew I was there. When I got there, Shirley introduced me to everyone, talked about my YouTube channel, so they knew I was filming for, like, no shady, like, gotcha. I'm not into that kind of stuff. So they saw me filming everything. It was like one big room. There was no place to hide and like gotcha film anything. But it was great. Shirley's team, Rahul Mishra's team, like everyone was so gracious, so welcoming to me. Okay, talk to me about this.
These are the clothes that are walking the show. Mm-hmm. Every one of them, and every one of these pieces were designed by Rahul, and it starts with buildings. It starts up here with buildings in New York City, and these were made to look like buildings, like cityscapes. And then even on the applique on the front, let me find one. They're all buildings. And even this skirt looks like high rises. And then it goes into the silver and the circles. And then it goes into the birds. Ooh. And there's a lot of birds. And it ends in gold. This jacket is to die for. This is like one of my favorite pieces.
I'm telling you, God made me fat so I wouldn't go broke.
Oh, they'll make it in your size. Here we go. They're going to make it in my size. But all of these follow a pattern with the vines and the trees and the leaves, and from buildings through birds and then gold through the heavens and the skies. And that's the pattern.
Cool.
This piece is cool because it has a hood. but there's so much beading and so much. I mean, it is heavy.
Everything weighs so much. Yeah.
It is heavy. This piece is spectacular. It has the birds on it, but it has the mesh.
Ooh.
But we're cutting it off. It has to be shorter. It's too long. Yeah. Yeah. Just cut that beading.
Just
right
worthless.
Off.
Just
rip it off. We don't need that. But it's actually really, really beautiful. And there's a couple girls that's getting ready to walk, and you can video them walking.
Cool.
Yeah.
And it was great. Like they were, finalizing the casting and doing things like hemming. Like once you finalize the model and the shoes that they're going to wear, then you got to maybe adjust the hem. So they were like doing stuff like checking the hem and checking the walk and on all the models that were coming in and finalizing all these things. Miss Fame came by to do his fitting, and I wanted to help. It's my nature, like in the backstage bustling of things. Like people were sewing things last minute, and I was like, can I help? And Shirley's like, no, you're here to film. You're here as a guest. Like, chill out. It's fine. But like, not everyone knows how to tie a corset. So Miss Fame is standing there half naked in the back corner dressing area, and Shirley's like, come help me. At the last minute, we're like tying and retying as we're trying different things with her dress, the gown she was supposed to wear on the runway.
Great dress, but it has a cage in it, and the cage is heavy wire built around it. And it doesn't go anywhere. It stays in place wherever you put it. There's no gaping.
Can someone sit in that?
Yeah, you can sit in it, but
because it's short enough in the front.
But it's got that same.
I love that so much.
Fun.
If I wore this, I would just be jangling all night.
Yeah, this piece is spectacular. This is the opener.
Oh.
She's so fun.
Wow. That is a cake.
Oh, so fun.
That is a moment.
She's a moment. Technique.
Same technique. This one's beaded.
This one's
and this one. Everyone thinks doing it is 3D printed, but look. All the sewing.
Same as this.
And then also the same sewing and then embellished.
Yep.
It's bonkers.
Bonkers.
So there was this one model here, and they kept trying different outfits on her. She had like 3 different outfits going on, and we weren't really sure what was happening. I was not part of the decision-making process at all, of course. I was just kind of watching, but that's kind of what happens sometimes, is sometimes you have an idea of what's going to look good on someone, what's going to look good come together, and until you put all the pieces together and see the person's presence and their walk and everything, you just don't know. So they kept trying different outfits. Here are some of the crazy pieces that were going to be like hooked to models' waists at the show on the runway. Incredible pieces. Roll, like, whoa, holy crap. So here's Rahul Mishra and Coco Rocha. She was lovely and super profesh. And yeah, she also does that. She was doing that, her super dramatic style of walking, like kind of like getting into the vibe of the whole show and the mood and the messaging behind the collection as she was walking.
Every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there. On a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena.
And then at some point, they were testing whether Coco Rocha should just do like a hot pant situation and let her legs show, or just do a complete head to toe black look inside the cape. So here's another model, and she had done there was a whole station where they were testing the hair and makeup, like for the final look. And so she's one of the models who got the whole final hair and makeup try on. Oh, this is the coat. And I literally said to Rahul Mishra, I said, if this coat goes missing, it wasn't me. Wink, wink. And we laughed about it. He's like, you like this one? I'm like, I love this one. Okay, you guys know how much I love dramatic outerwear. Coats are my thing. And this thing is a masterpiece. Look at, and it has functional pockets. You do not ever get to tell me that you couldn't squeeze in a pocket with an actual pocket bag when this thing is like 300 pounds of beads and it has functioning pockets. This is where they're doing the final model kind of order, the final casting and the final order of, and it was so funny because Shirley just sort of was like, okay, we need to finalize this. And she clustered them in a group and she's like, you hold the board. You stay here until we're done with this. So Rahul Mishra is right here. Ella's part of Shirley's team. And then there's Michael in the ball cap.
Almost feel like that should be the finale of these two.
All right, what's going to go right here? I don't think you should put the two short together.
No. I mean, it can be...
Short can be after this. In between two gowns, shall we do short? Because they will look too similar otherwise. Yeah, something like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't hate that because they're kind of separate. What do you think?
And then this was one of the gowns where they had to redo the hem. Do you see how it's kind of rolling underneath her a little bit, and that could totally be a tripping hazard? So that was one where we had to pick up the hem. And that was a snippet of the fitting, and I had so much fun meeting the team and just hanging out, and I did not get any footage of Miss Fame for two reasons. Number one, because he was mostly naked for, like, he came, he stripped, he was like, what am I wearing? Like, so no shooting any of that. And for two, like, I was helping with the corset lacing at a certain point. And so I was actually in there. Shirley actually asked me if I want to work the next show. So if she's going to be hired to work his show next season, she wants me there because she knows I sew. She needs people who can make things, who can sew, who can fix things. And she knows I make ball gowns from scratch. So she's like, you want to come and be part of my team next season? I was like, girl, you don't have to ask me twice. It was super fun. We did that for a few hours. And you know when you're just like flurry of activity. And then all of a sudden you kind of hit a wall and you're like, wow, it has been a long time since I had any food. So, yeah. So I hit a wall. I was like, okay, I have to go home. I have to eat something. And so my husband and I left. We picked up just disgusting sandwiches at the Monoprix across the street from our hotel. And then we passed out. Good morning from Paris. It's show day. I'm attending my very first couture show today. I need about 7 more coffees. I asked my friend who got me invited to the show. I was like, what do people wear to these things? And she's like, some people wear shorts. Some people wear ball gowns. So anything in between the two. Girl, not helpful. But whatever. So I want to take you to the show with me. And I asked her if I could show up a little bit early and film some of the shenanigans. And so she's like, yeah, come like hour and a half. What is this scratch on my... Oh, that's like alignment shit. I don't know. Did I mention I need like 7 more coffees? Anyway, I'm going to the show. I'm going early to run backstage and say hi and check out pre-show shenanigans because I live for that stuff. I was posting about all my Paris experiences on Threads. And yeah, attending these shows is really magical and I'm so excited about this opportunity. But, backstage is kind of where I feel the most home, to be honest with you. Like yesterday at the fitting, I was like helping models get laced up into corsets and stuff. And yeah, just helping out. People asking my opinion on where they thought the hem should hit. Like that's kind of where... That's my happy spot. So I was having a good old time yesterday until like my energy just gave out. I was like, oh God, if I don't eat something and lay down. But yeah, so hopefully I'll shoot some really cool footage. The final run through was starting like right after I arrived. And so Shirley's like, come here. And she grabbed me and we were sitting down watching. I didn't even have time to like put my camera into my gimbal. So I just shot the whole thing with just like holding my hand as steady as possible.
Spilled by all those generals and emperors. Think of the endless cruelties visited
Oh.
by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel. On the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequent their misunderstandings.
Take that concept back to the drawing board and kind of finish it. I love it. Yeah. Yeah.
Take them off yet.
I like this.
Did you guys switch outfits on him?
Is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no end, that hope will come from us to save us from ourselves.
Oh, the jingly sounds. I love it. Oh, he took that whole cage out. That fixed it for sure. Taking that cage out. Oh, this is bananas. I love it. There's our coat, girl.
Why can't we wear it now? Just take it home with us.
It was really great. Like, I love all that stuff. And honestly, the show was beautiful. And when it all came together with the styling and the hair and the makeup and the music and the lighting and like the pacing and like the groupings of the shows, like the Rahul Mishra show, they were like definite segments, distinct segments. You know how I'm always talking about designing in groups and how those groups all come together under one umbrella theme. Like, you could see the distinct groups in the show. There was like the gold section at the very end that was very like, so the theme of the show was about what kind of world are we leaving behind for our children. And Rahul Mishra kind of was not inspired by the death of his father, but just kind of his mind was going to certain places after the death of his father and thinking about the world he was leaving behind for his daughter. And so this collection kind of was born of those sort of mental mullings. And so the beginning segment of the show is inspired by buildings falling, skyscrapers falling apart. That's why you have all these geometric structures. And then you have the birds. And birds can mean a few different things. And these kinds of birds, I mean, you know, I grew up in Alaska, and so I heard a lot of Native Alaskan stories about the raven and the raven's duality and all these things. And of course, Rahul Mishra is from India, not Alaska, so I'm sure, you know, the symbolism is different, but there's a lot of this sort of like, when you see these kinds of ravens, crows, you think of scavengers because that's what they are in real life. And so they look ominous. You think of the movie The Birds, you know, that sort of thing. And then things get a little bit more hopeful, and then the gold is supposed to be like sun and gold and hope and light towards the end, right? So he has these segments in the show, designing in groups, okay? And it was really beautiful how it all came together with the score and everything. But just me personally, I had the most fun backstage. That's just who I am as a person, like sitting. Like, I got a front row seat. One of my followers on Instagram, she sent me this reel, and she wrote, actually, I don't know this person's gender. They wrote, "Hey, I see your little neon sneakers." Front row, go Zoe. And I was like, oh yeah, I was front row. Because, you know, Shirley is one of those friends where she is your loudest advocate. If she believes in you, she will make everyone else believe in you. Like the way she hyped me up when she was introducing me to the team, it was a little bit like, I'm not all that, but thanks, Shirley. So anyway, I had a great time. You know, I tried to shoot a little bit backstage, but you know, people were undressing, and you know, I'm not about to film people undressing. But yeah, personally, I would love to go back and work backstage and do the whole backstage thing at fashion shows, because that's more my jam. But I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth if someone else just wants me to come and watch. Like, yeah, it was great. So that was Monday. And then Thursday was the Sara Chraibi show. Hey, party people. Welcome to show day number 2, which is actually show day number 4, because I went to Rahul Mishra. The fitting was on Sunday, and the show was on Monday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday I was just hanging out in Paris. Mild food poisoning didn't stop me from running around a little bit. And today I have another show, and I'm less nervous and jittery about today because I don't have to shoot behind the scenes, so I can just go at the show time. And also, I've been to the venue already and kind of know like the layout and where I'm supposed to go and how to get there and everything. So I'm way more chill today, but like not any less excited about seeing the clothes. Like on Monday's show, I'd already seen the clothes, so it was kind of like, I mean, it was still cool. Don't get me wrong, okay? But I have no idea what the clothes are going to look like today. So like more relaxed about logistics and more excited about the clothes. Yeah, that's the feeling. It's different today. Not to say that I'm feeling like old hat, like, oh, I've done this so many times. So like, no. It's just luck that it's the same venue as the other show. So I'm feeling like, oh, I know where that is. And I know where the entrance is because it's a really big building and stuff. So no, I'm not jaded already. It's going to take me a few more fashion weeks before I'm jaded. Although someone did hint very strongly about me coming back to Paris in July for the next run of couture shows. I mean, it's not the worst idea I've ever heard. I'm just saying. All right. But I am going to shoot this show today. Of course, I'm not going to get as much behind the scenes footage as I got access to at Rahul Mishra, but we'll see. Like, it was the same venue, but a different room. So the mood was absolutely different. Her venue, like Rahul Mishra was like on a lower floor. So the whole room was kind of blocked of light, except for like one wall. Like it was all artificial light. And then the Sara Chraibi show was like the top floor, and it had all these like this open daylight, and it looked really airy and soft. And she had this sort of like that old school salon seating where it's just one row of chairs just winding all around the two rooms. And so it just like everyone has a front row seat. But anyway, so it was really intimate and small, and I was close to the front where the models were coming out, and it was really beautiful. Like, because I had been backstage and looking at all the dresses and everything at Rahul Mishra, and I got to see them up close and everything. By the time I watched the show, I got to just enjoy the impact of the whole show, which is a completely different experience altogether. But with Sara Chraibi, I had no idea what anything was going to look like. And I just really wanted to grab the girls and be like, slow down, let me look at your beautiful dress. This is why I get in trouble at museums. You know, security guards, they see me at museums. They're like, you're getting a little close there. Because I just get like, you know, not everything fascinates me. But when I decide something is interesting, I just want to like get in there and look at it and shake it and shimmy it and like, okay. So like these gowns were like ethereal and like they kind of glowed like they were lit from within. Like they were silver, but they kind of glowed like pearl, like, you know, that kind of luminescence, not like shiny, sparkly, but glowed, luminescent, soft, moonlight, and just all the little details I wanted to look and touch and feel, and just, it was really beautiful. And it was too fast. And that's not a criticism, it's just I wanted to look closer and more, you know? I wanted to shoot the footage for the channel, but I wanted to see more. Everything was so beautiful, and I just wanted to see everything. And I was just really, really happy about it. It was funny because when I first got there, so my husband was coming with me to all the shows, except he would go off to get coffee while I actually attended the show and then meet with me afterwards. And when we first got there, there was a model who was wearing a previous collection, Sara Chraibi. I recognized it immediately because I do follow her work. And she was walking around and she was clearly somebody, because like tons of people were taking photos of her, like people with like giant cameras and press badges and whatever. And we were both kind of like, do you know who that is? I don't know who that is. Do you know? Yeah, I am not good at that stuff. I'm gonna get in trouble one of these days. She looked beautiful. And later I ended up standing kind of close to her by the elevator, and I was like, oh, that coat. Just, it was so gorgeous. I'm obsessed with the clothes. Okay, I hope people start to really recognize Sara Chraibi for like her stuff is beautiful. Like beautiful in the way that I think Elie Saab is beautiful. Like when I think about Elie Saab, I don't think of groundbreaking, trendy, avant-garde, like paving the way for, like, that's not the vibe. I reach for Elie Saab when I have just seen too much garbage that people call fashion, and I need a palette cleanser, so I need to look at something that I know is going to be beautiful. Okay? And I know when I scroll through an Elie Saab collection, it's just gonna be freaking beautiful. The end. Okay? It's gonna be a beautiful fashion palette cleanser, so that if I need to go look at more collections for a video I'm doing or for something else, I've got this beautiful palette cleanser, this reminder that beauty still exists in the world. And Sara Chraibi is like, just, her stuff is just beautiful. Just beautiful. Okay? Not that her and Elie Saab's style are similar in any way, like their styles are different, but just in that vibe where it's just beautiful and interesting, and the embellishments are so interesting and you want to look a little bit closer. But they love women. Like you can tell when a designer loves women, okay, by their work. You can tell. And those two love women. Anyway, so after the show, listen, remember, I still don't know who's behind those Sara Chraibi DMs. And the night before the Sara Chraibi show, I had sent a DM being like, good luck tomorrow. I'm sure everything is beautiful. Looking forward to it, right? And they said a nice thank you. And then I get to the show, I watch the show, and then I get up hoping to say hi to Sara Chraibi and, you know, be like, hi, congratulations, it was a beautiful show. Not thinking she was going to know who I was necessarily, but I just really wanted to know. Like maybe an intern would pop up and be like, oh my God, Zoe, you made it, or something, right? But no, I walked up to her. Okay, as a side note, you know, American media, US media, social media, whatever, would have you believe that all French women go around with unbrushed hair, naked faces, and red lipstick, and that is wrong. That is wrong. French women or Parisian women do not wear red lipstick, okay? I spent over 2 weeks in Paris, and I did not see a single woman wearing red lipstick other than myself and Sara Chraibi, okay? And I don't think she actually lives in Paris. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, like, not that that's going to stop me from wearing red lipstick. I just like red lipstick, period. Y'all know that. I've been wearing it for years as my signature lipstick. But yeah, anyway. So I walk up to Sara Chraibi, who's like giving interviews and chatting with people, congratulating her. And she sees me, she clocks me, makes eye contact with me, and she says, ah, Zoe. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she knows who I am. She knows who I am. And I just walk up to her and I shake her hand and I'm like, it's nice to meet you in person. The show is beautiful. Congratulations. Are you really happy with it? She's like, yes, you know, and it was lovely and she's lovely. And then later we kind of got in and everybody was grabbing her attention because of course they are. And so I kind of let her do her thing. And then later on, we're just kind of like moseying towards the elevator en masse, right? Like the whole group is just like, there's 4 elevators. Each elevator is this big. And so we're all kind of moseying towards the elevator banks. And I see her again. And so we actually have a conversation this time around. I finally did ask her, hey, so who, she's like, Zoe, I write those DMs. That was me. I watch your channel. I was like, you do? She's like, yes. And she told me that she was an architect. She's a trained architect in a former life, as she says. But she's untrained in fashion. And so she started looking online for fashion drawing tutorials. And she found me and she's like, you're my fashion drawing teacher, Zoe. You could have knocked me over with a feather. I was like, wow, really? She's like, yes. Like I said, I'm a fan of your channel. And I'm like, you write those DMs? She's like, yes. Listen, a fancy pants French couturier watches my YouTube channel. So you're in good company. If you're watching my fashion drawing tutorials and learning from them, you're in good company. So that was, yeah, so we took a selfie, we dispersed, yeah. And then I spent the rest of my time in Paris, and then I went to Belgium for a few days, and then I came back to Paris, went to PV, all those good things, and it was good. It was good. It was a good trip. It was cold. It was cold because I'm a soft California baby, but it was worth it. I had a great time. This chapter of Embrace Rejection and Try Anyway worked out really well, okay? I highly encourage you all to try it out yourselves. Just think, what's the worst case scenario? Somebody saying no? Okay, well then, if that's the worst case scenario, just try it. Just try it, okay? And maybe I'll try to go next season. Maybe I'll work backstage at a show with Shirley. Maybe I'll try to get into some other shows. I'm actually thinking about heading to New York in September. I could, like, New York Fashion Week and the Magic Trade Show is happening at the same time in New York City. And if I went in mid-September and did Magic for the channel and then tried to hit New York Fashion Week and maybe do a book signing event, that could be a fun trip, right? Those were my adventures at Haute Couture Week. Anyway, drop me your questions, your comments, your video requests below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed my stories, and I'll see you in the next video.